Hello and welcome to day 24 of the HUBZone Small Business Summit. We are so excited to have you guys here with us today, and you're in for a real treat because this isn't just a typical session. You're going to be actually hearing from key industry experts on a number of key topics impacting the small business community. So you better buckle up because there's going to be a lot going on during this session. Now, as you heard, this is being recorded. So we encourage you guys to be interactive and post any of your questions or concerns in the Q&A function and chat box. I will be monitoring that with the support of our wonderful moderator, Robert Brooke. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Robert Brooke to take over here. He's the director of the federal funding program for CIT, and he is going to be ushering us through this amazing presentation today. So thank you again, guys, and let's get started.
Sure, and thank you. Can you hear me okay?
You sound loud and clear.
Perfect. And thank you for the opportunity to moderate this great panel. I've been working with these folks for several months now in preparation for this, so we're really proud to be able to do this today. Again, I'm Robert Brooke. I'm the director of federal funding programs at CIT. We're going to talk a little, I'm going to high level of what I do. At CIT, we're a state-funded nonprofit here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, working with small businesses to help them grow their technology in their business. And my role as in director of federal funding is to working with a lot of early-stage government contractors. So we'll talk a little about that in a second. We're going to talk a little bit with this. We've got 3 panels today, and the first one's going to talk about some of the back office systems that are going to be. And the goal today is to help you become more competitive in federal proposals and other contracts you're bidding on, and to be a more successful company, and to try to find ways to make your company and your bids shine above others, because it's always competitive, and we want to make sure that each of these talks today is going to talk about ways to help you become more competitive in various aspects of your business. Talk about some back office systems, thinking about really how you're presenting that. What do you have? Did you have what you have is enough, or are there more you really need? Tips on building a more compliant GovCon business, and there's some a neat webinar series that the Outwork Systems folks are giving that we're going to talk about, and you kind of see where you might be able to fit into those. And then finally, last but certainly not least, is the issues that have been out there for a while and sort of pending for a while, is the finding cost-effective solutions for the CMMC certification requirements, and which affects all government contractors eventually. Primarily right now, it's more of a DoD thing, but they will all be having requirements for that. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this screen share quickly, and then screen share another. And it's going to cover just a quick little overview and a little video here for you.
You maximize it?
As a small government contractor, you face major challenges. You need to know how to operate and compete in a lowest price, technically acceptable environment. You must understand and meet the government compliance requirements. And you need to build a BD strategy to address emerging category management requirements. Business as usual is not the answer. Your people, systems, and processes must be aligned to lower your cost while improving competitiveness. We've designed the OneLink SaaS platform to address these challenges. OneLink is an integrated suite of tools optimized for government contracting. OneLink includes a complete and integrated set of applications that ensure your business operations are streamlined and compliant. OneLink includes integrated cybersecurity compliance tools that provide visibility across the entire certification lifecycle, including assessment, remediation, and certification, dramatically reducing the cost and risk of obtaining certification. And finally, we offer training that helps you understand how to manage the risk and cost for all contract types, enabling you to win while being more profitable. Contact Outwork Systems to let us assist you to become a more successful government contractor.
Great. Well, that kind of provides some context is what we're going to talk about today. Go ahead and where that is. There it is. Share.
You know the best place in your house to potentially save money, not the garage, not the kitchen, but
sorry about that.
Roof. If your roof doesn't have solar panels on it, then you may be throwing
Okay, sorry about that. Promotional commercial for other folks. Hey, so we're going to go a little bit more into the presentation here, and first to provide a little bit more context as to why I'm moderating the panel. So as I mentioned to you, I run the Federal Funding Assistance Program here at the Center for Innovative Technology. My role is to work with companies to help them learn about and apply for the federally funded Small Business Innovation Research and Small Business Technology Transfer programs. These are funding programs, over almost $4 billion available each year. And the reason I'm going to provide a quick, what I would say, a tutorial on steroids on this is because Mark is one of our panelists, small business panelists today, and he has an SBIR, and he is a early stage, hopefully growing small business. And so he's sort of a proxy for a lot of folks here to kind of provide some relevance as to understanding a little bit about SBIR and really where his stage is in his company. So you can kind of put yourself and compare yourself to where he is and to see where, why he's making some decisions on what he's doing and some tips that he's providing. And also, I always like to say, hey, the SBIR program is one of the most compelling and small business friendly programs that the government has. And as a HUBZone company, if you're on the HUBZone conference here, you're looking for advantages, right? So we're looking for ways to get more of your fair share. As a small business, it's a struggle out there. The SBIR program provides over, as I mentioned to you, almost $4 billion annually now. And the SBIR, we'll talk about SBIR and STTR, it's a single program, but they are different, slightly different in how they run, but we're not going to have time to go over all that. I will have some suggestions for training, links that you can look into further. And you're always welcome to reach out to me and I can direct you to where some opportunities might be on the national stage for you to look into this more. But the goal is to fund, it's a economic development program. The government put this program together to try to stimulate new technology development to address the technology needs of the various agencies that participate. It's only to small business, so 500 employees or less. There are no revenue limitations to stimulate technological innovation and develop products with commercial merit. So you're looking at hardware, software. It's not just discovering new things to discover new things down the road. It's not for consulting, developing a consulting business, so to speak. You can do consulting work part of this, but developing tools and technology. Over 5,000 awards made annually, 11 federal agencies, vetting high risk, high payoff research that can be commercialized in the private sector or in the sense from more of a DoD side of thing, transition to the funding agency. Again, there's 11 agencies that all participate in this program, and they're all doing it to meet their specific agency mission. 11 agencies, 11 different missions, and they've been using this program over 40 years now, and developing it to meet their specific processes and procedures and goals. It's gated funding, meaning they're being good stewards of the taxpayer dollars that go into this program. They're going to be providing a small amount of money over a relatively small amount of time for you to validate an idea works. And then you have to prove out in a second proposal, the larger money, if you prove the first phase is feasible, that your idea has merit, then you can then apply for the second phase and get the larger amount of money for a larger amount of time. So that's a good thing for us taxpayers that this is paying for. So again, one of the better programs out there that really provides validation for ideas before it funds it. Commercialization focus. As I mentioned to you, the agencies have various opportunities throughout the year, but there's always going to be something out there. And over almost 25% of all seed capital, when we talk about seed funding, more the venture capital sense, is provided in this program. Now, it's a little bit different for contracting agencies, but we'll talk about that. Critical capital, earliest funding, basically it's the comeback when you're talking to an agency and you're like, well, you don't really have it built yet. Come back when you have something built. You're talking about a bank or a venture capitalist. Come back when you've got a prototype. Come back when you've got customers. You're like, well, I'm so early, I don't have that yet. That's what this program is for, to cover those earliest risks of building a technology. The challenge of it, of course, is that they're dealing with technologists building technology. At the same time, they want you to have the business side figured out, even though this is an early stage program. So SBIR is funding the earliest stages of feasibility first. So if you've got a product that's working and you're just trying to sell it now, needs capital to hire salespeople, that is not SBIR. So this is for research and development. And again, I'm going to be over this in a couple seconds here. 500 employees or less, owned and operated in the US, and all the work must be performed in the United States. So again, it's an economic development program for the United States. Going through, these are the 3 phases. The 2 phases are funded through that almost $4 billion annually. The 3rd phase is other government money, getting product sales. It's the tracking mechanism. As the government is, you might imagine, they want to track their programs and success, and the more you get phase 3s, the more successful their program is. So look at the timelines here, between $50K to $250,000, depending on the programs and agencies. 6 months to a year, typically, the phase 1, and then phase 2 is up to typically 2 years, and anywhere from $500,000 to $1.5 million. Again, depending on the agency and the program that you might be applying to within that agency. So you're not looking at a short 2-month project, or you're not looking at a 10-year project, but you're looking at a good 2 to 3 to 4 year project, depending on the agency and how you develop the tools. These are the agencies, and get a sense for the big ones. DOD has over almost $2 billion of the money in there. Health and Human Services, or National Institutes of Health, is second, over $1 billion. Energy and NASA come in there 3rd and 4th, and then the National Science Foundation has over $200 million. And the other agencies are the more smaller agencies that typically are going to have 1 cycle per year. The agencies up top are going to have at least usually 2, and some of them actually have 3 or 4 cycles. So there's always something coming and going. And the key is to find out where your technology might be a fit in multiple agencies to give you the most opportunity, right? So you can kind of see this. Some very successful companies, Symantec and Qualcomm, we all know those guys. Probably to log in through one of those. You're using one in your system probably right now, right? Sonicare, the toothbrush, some of the 23andMe, we all, the genetic testing thing. So these are some great, these companies alone have paid back the billions and billions in taxes that the government's put into these programs over the years. So very successful program. These are all going to be made available to everybody through the HUBZone conference folks. So I'm not going to go into all these details, but the difference of contracting agencies and granting agencies is pretty evident. Maybe think about, granting agencies typically aren't buying the results of this research. Contracting agencies do. So that's the basic 2 differences. Now, when you're trying to sell things they all buy pencils and computers and computer services. So certainly that's not what we're talking about here, but we're talking more about the research that the SBIR program is funding. Don't lose equity. You maintain all the intellectual property, which I think for companies that are looking for advantages, if you're just a butt in a seat doing some work, when you're done, the contract's over and you own nothing. The SBIR program actually allows you to own the technology that you've developed for the government. It's providing you credibility from the government, the evaluation, and something of interest, sole source contract ability. Anything deriving from, concluding from, extending from the work performed in the SBIR, even in the phase 1 early stage level, can be developed and get further sole source contracts from any federal agency, post office. They don't have that. They don't have these programs. Any agency. Follow on without competition. So that's the kind of an advantage there you might want to look into, buy it because it's a great advantage. And again, I know we're all looking for advantages. Some last considerations here. If you're working with a customer, learning about their needs, and you should always be thinking about where maybe some gaps are in what their technology is. And you can propose topics this way. They like to work with people they know, like, love, and trust, as I always say. And if you're doing great servicing a contract with them now, and you think you can build a better tool for something, propose topics. They have to post that topic for other people to compete, of course, but this would be a great way to get more business. Got to be prepared, and this is sort of talks about some of the things we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. Growth. Anytime you're getting those first contracts or proposing things to the government for the first time, you got to be prepared, because once you win it, I always say the hard part's over, the hard part starts. You got to be starting to get ready for getting audited, and the project management skills, growing financially, timekeeping, tracking, all this stuff, cybersecurity requirements. It's all this stuff requires the company to sign off on and be prepared for, or you're not going to be successful in SBIR, or really, quite frankly, any other federal contracting. So that's why we're talking about this a little bit today. And the SBR does cover the cost of some of those services, their indirect rates, overhead rates, and you get up to a 7% fee to pay for other stuff that you need in the company, rent, benefits, accounting systems, payroll systems. These are all part of the systems that are going to make you look more compelling for the government to want to do business with you. I always say they're looking for ways not to do business with you sometimes, and you want to show them you're prepared. You want them to look at your proposal instead of your company, back office systems, right? A couple of areas to look at tutorials. This is the sbir.gov website, and from there you can click on tutorials. sbir.gov is easy. /tutorials, and you can find tutorials and links and all kinds of great stuff there. There are states like Virginia that we have a federal grant to actually develop more training tools and classes. You might want to look to see if your state, if you're not in Virginia, find out who in your state. There's a link at the sbir.gov site to find a list of state support services for you. My services, we have training, we have upcoming live training. We have recently had a DoD session. This is like a 3-hour-long session. We have a NSF and NIH session. These are 4-hour-plus sessions. We have an archive section here. You can look at those. Anybody can sign up for those. They're free for Virginia-based companies and a small fee for others, but well worth it. I think that would be something to consider if you're looking for advantages in government contracting. The SBR program is sort of a proxy for what we're going to talk about today: early stage government contracting and the challenges that SBR companies and other earlier stage government contractors face. So with that, just some housekeeping. If you've got questions, we're monitoring the questions that come through, and send them in whenever you get the question. We might answer it, and hopefully we don't have to answer it if we know we've already answered it. Usually what happens is someone asks a question, it's usually on the next slide, right? We've all been there. So keep that in mind. We'll try to answer. We've got three sessions or 3 panels today, all mostly the same people. But so we'll try to answer those questions at the end of each session, so this provide more relevance. And if not, we've got some time at the end that we can cover up any questions that might not have been answered or that you might have from the final session. So with that,